How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with The Movie Castle, and today I want to be doing something a little bit different. My family, like probably a lot of yours, really likes to watch, all our favorite Christmas movies leading up to the big day. I was watching with my dad, and we started talking about Christmas dogs. I've had dogs in my family ever since I was a really little kid. I've loved them all. Dogs are really great animals. And me and my dad were talking about how they appear quite a bit in Christmas movies. There's not always a dog, but whenever it's there, it's usually a really good character. And he suggested that I should make a list of top 5 dogs in Christmas movies and TV specials. And I thought, why not? Christmas is almost here. Why not have a little bit of fun and do something different? 2 big notes before we get into this. 1, this is a personal list, not a definitive one, so if you guys have your own favorite Christmas dogs, go ahead and tell me in the comments. And 2, there will be a few minor spoilers. There are a few moments that come from later in the movies that I will want to talk about. So without further ado, let's get into the list. Starting off with number 5, and that will have to be Rosie the dog from Krampus. Rosie is a really fun character in a really fun movie. I'm a big horror fan, and Krampus is a horror comedy that I've watched pretty much almost every year since it came out. And we all know why Rosie's on this list. Among Krampus's many minions are the iconic gingerbread men. And when they start to overwhelm our heroes, Rosie's going to swoop in and save the day in a really classic and iconic scene. And even though she is a great character overall, the dog adds a bit of more life and levity to the human side of things. But it's, if we're being honest, that gingerbread scene where she steals the show and earns her spot on this list. However, that being said, Rosie is definitely another, a loving homage to another Christmas movie, and that transitions us into number 4, and that'll be Snots the dog from Christmas Vacation. Snots gets a lot of good jokes in here. Cousin Eddie's dog, a big dog that keeps making these weird sneezing sounds, kind of gross, and will definitely wreck up the place. There's some classic iconic jokes like when it chases a squirrel through the house, or when it licks up all the water from underneath the Christmas tree, causing it to dry out. But of course, and this may be my sentimental side, what really wins him over to me is that absolute last shot of Christmas Vacation, where Clark looks up at his house, he's finished the holiday, and he says, "I did it." And he looks down, and Snots is there, just staring up at him, and the two kind of just stare at each other as the camera pulls away and leaves the family. It's just such kind of a cathartic ending after all that craziness. These two characters just kind of left out on the front lawn, taking it all in. It's one of my favorite closing shots, really. But anyway, let's move on to another great dog, and this is number 3, Zero, from A Nightmare Before Christmas, which I know some people are going to say it's a Halloween movie. It can be for both holidays, guys, it's fine. But A Nightmare Before Christmas, I've really loved because every single character in this movie, no matter how small, is incredibly well designed and so interesting to look at, and Zero is really cool as well. We get to see he's a ghost dog, and we get to see his little grave that he rises up from and follows Jack around, and he's a sheet with a little cartoon dog head and a nice glowing nose. And in addition to just looking really cool, it's cool to see Jack have a friend that he can confide in when the whole rest of Halloween Town doesn't really, get him, or at least not many of them. And that song where he's there in the cemetery and Zero's following him around, it's really classic. And then plus, at the end of the movie, Zero gets to play Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in a fun, kind of out-of-nowhere twist, but give him his hero moment. Zero's really cool, and I really like him. Moving on to number 2, and number 2's kind of special because he's not necessarily a Christmas exclusive dog, even though he's in a very classic and iconic Christmas TV special, and that will of course be Snoopy from A Charlie Brown Christmas. And Snoopy in this is one of the best parts. You know, when you're a kid and you're watching the Charlie Brown movies, they're good enough, but it's always wanting Snoopy to come on screen, waiting for him and Woodstock to get up to some antics. And there's a fun, few jokes with Snoopy in here where he's on the stage trying to play all the animals or playing the guitar as the gang dances around and ignores Charlie Brown. But of course, the absolutely iconic part of this movie is when Snoopy wins a Christmas decorating contest for his doghouse, and he's got all this random stuff on it. And then, of course, and no need to spoil what it is, but the idea that, Snoopy built this for commercialism, and he'll wind up kind of sacrificing it for Charlie Brown and turning it into something different and creative. I really do like how this ties neatly into the end of the Charlie Brown Christmas special, and it's a really cool image that it all ends on. So, Snoopy, you get this second to the top. Well, who's number 1? I think a lot of you guys can figure it out. It's a pretty obvious pull, but it's gotta be the best Christmas dog, and that will of course be Max from How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You know how they always say in modern writing classes the idea that if you show a character loving an animal that can hint at a good side to an otherwise bad character? Max is really the clue that the Grinch does have a heart, You see this guy, he's mean and antisocial and grumpy, but he does have this nice little dog that's willing to follow him to the ends of the earth. And you see him helping out, powering the sewing machine, holding the mirror so the Grinch can adjust his costume, and then pulling that giant sleigh, which, how strong is Max? Because they say Mount Crumpet is 10,000 feet up, and he pulls that whole sleigh all the way up there. But anyway, Max in all 3 versions of the Grinch is a really fun character, and yeah, the physical representation that the Grinch does in fact have a heart, and seeing him there with his little antler on pretending to be a reindeer, he's really, really cool, and I gotta give him the number 1 spot. But that being said, if I missed any of your favorite Christmas dogs, I know like Hallmark Channel or something will crank out a bunch of dog movies, I think. If you guys have your own favorite, let me know, I'll be willing to hear. But anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you, you really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. It should be a Christmas playlist if you want to see me talk about other Christmas movies, including most of what I talked about here. You can find that right here. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.